The time 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Tilani Pires. The President directs officials to accelerate the focus initiative aimed at attracting 5 million tourists annually. The State Minister Shahan Semasinga says that the second tranche of the extended fund facility of the IMF will bring hope for investors. 3 centres are open in the Anuradhapura district in order to purchase the paddy harvest of the Yala season. The need of the multilateral task force to execute the welfare programs for the benefit of workers is emphasised. And on international news, Indian lunar mission inches closer to the moon. Sports news, fixtures announced for West Indies Under-19 tour of Sri Lanka. President Ranil Wickremesinghe urged officials to accelerate efforts towards the goal of attracting 5 million tourists annually to Sri Lanka. These directives were issued during a committee meeting at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. During the discussion, comprehensive plans spanning short, medium and long terms were thoroughly deliberated upon to enhance Sri Lanka's appeal and comfort for tourists. President Wickremesinghe inquired about ongoing plans and the role of the private sector in promoting the nation's tourism industry. Officials briefed the President on current initiatives and emerging trends. President Wickremesinghe also directed officials to identify a suitable location in collaboration with the private sector for the establishment of a high-class hotel school in Sri Lanka. Accordingly to the recommendations set forth by the committee tasked with establishing Sri Lanka as a leading tourist destination, the Ministry of Tourism and its affiliated bodies are formulating a strategic plan for up to 2025. Remarkably, 95% of this plan has already been completed. The State Minister Shahan Semasinga expressed hope that receiving the second tranche of the extended fund facility of the IMF will bring hope for a better future for both local and foreign investors. The suggestions made by the IMF, including eliminating financial corruption, are being implemented. $333 million will be received as the second tranche. The State Minister expressed these views at a function held in Colombo today. He further said that the cost of living would further decrease once a local debt optimization program is executed. The Paddy Marketing Board says that 3 centres are open in the Anuradhapura district in order to purchase the paddy harvest of the Yala season. These centres have been established in the Rajanganiya, Padavi, Parakramapura and Rambava. 10 more centres will be established later based on the needs of the farmers. Harvesting of the Yala season is currently underway. Meanwhile, the State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa says that action will be taken for effective management of water resources. A program will be implemented to monitor the tanks so that they would be able to maintain their capacity. He further added that several government bodies, including the Department of Irrigation, will be consolidated in the near future in order to take decisions regarding the possible climate changes. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
The Minister Manusha Nanayakkara points out the need of the multilateral task force consolidating various ministries and the International Labour Organization in order to execute the welfare programs for the benefit of workers. The Minister requested the ILO today to conduct a study on the programs implemented by the Ministry of Labour and Foreign Employment focusing on worker welfare. A discussion in this regard was held at the Ministry today. The prospective task force will consist of the Ministries of Finance, Health and Social Empowerment and Welfare. The consultant pediatrician at Lady Ridgeway Children's Hospital, Deepal Pereira, said that due to the dry weather and dust, dizziness and diarrhea are increasing among children these days. He said children with wheezing may experience coughing and shortness of breath, which is common during the day, night and early morning. He asked the parents to bring their children to the hospital immediately if they develop such symptoms, as treatment is available in hospitals for such conditions. That ends local news for now.
Listen, no fake news, false flags, it is the real thing. Breaking records, making history, you know we got the big bling. 10 billion bonus all across the island. Ka-ching! Not millions, talking billions, yeah, it is the big win.
History's highest ever sure bonus declaration for SLIC life policyholders in 2022 exceeds 10 billion rupees.
10 billion bonus gonna make your dreams come true. 10 billion bonus for you.
Sri Lanka Insurance. Like a father, like a mother.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The U.S. Ambassador at Large for Cyberspace and Digital Policy, Nathaniel C. Fick, will travel to Sri Lanka from August 20th to the 23rd. According to the U.S. State Department, Ambassador Fick is expected to hold bilateral consultations in Colombo with a range of counterparts in government, private sector and think tanks on cybersecurity, information and communication technologies and digital freedom. During the meeting, he will highlight United States' views on digital economy topics, including priority areas set by India's G20 presidency, digital public infrastructure, security in the digital economy and digital skilling. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
And on Watchlight this evening, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says an 18-hour water cut is scheduled to take place in several areas, including Colombo and suburbs, from 8 a.m. on Saturday until 2 a.m. on Sunday. Accordingly, the water cut will be imposed in Colombo, Dehiwala Mount Lavinia, Kaduwala and Kotte Municipal Council areas and the Maharagama, Bodasgama, Kolonava, Kotikavatta, Mulleriava, Ratmalana and Katubadda Pradeshya Sabha areas. Once again, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says an 18-hour water cut is scheduled to take place in several areas, including Colombo and suburbs, from 8 a.m. on Saturday until 2 a.m. on Sunday. Accordingly, the water cut will be imposed in Colombo, Dehiwala Mount Lavinia, Kaduwala and Kotte Municipal Council areas, and the Maharagama, Bodalasgamma, Kolonava, Kotikavatta, Mulleriava, Ratmalana and Katubadda Pradeshya Sabha areas. The water cut will be imposed due to essential maintenance work. That came to you in Watchlight.
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
Moving on with world news and the headlines first. The Indian lunar mission inches closer to the moon. Ukraine claims gains on southeastern front while fighting continues in the east. Wildfires rages out of control on Spain. India's third lunar mission is inching closer to the moon's little explored south pole, where it aims to set down a lander and rover on 23rd August. The lander detached from the propulsion module, which carried it close to the moon, beginning its last phase of the mission. Chandrayaan-3, however, may not be the first to land on the South Pole if it's beaten by a new Russian mission. Luna 25, launched last week, is expected to land a day or two earlier. The Ukrainian military claimed more success in its counter-offensive against Russian forces on the southeastern front a day after announcing the liberation of a village that had served as a Russian strong point. The military said Ukraine had made progress to the south of Urozhain, a village in Donetsk region that Kyiv said on Wednesday it had retaken as it tries to build momentum for a southward push into occupied areas towards the Sea of Azov. Over 200 firefighters have been battling a wildfire raging out of control on Spain's holiday island of Tenerife that forced road closures and the evacuation of 5 villagers. The fire was raging through a forested area with steep ravines in the northeastern part of the island, part of the Canary Islands archipelago of northwestern Africa. Approximately 250 firefighters, backed by 13 planes and helicopters, worked to contain the fire in an area difficult to reach. Officials said the flames had so far burned about 4,450 acres. Back to the world news headlines. The Indian lunar mission inches closer to the moon. Ukraine claims gains on southeastern front while fighting continues in the east. Wildfires rage out of control on Spain. That ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities from Deshak Sri Lanka in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Oman, including company house main salary 156,000 rupees, 23 to 57 years. Contact 037 7500 500.
And on development news, the Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri has briefed the diplomatic corps based in Colombo Wednesday at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on work being done by the Foreign Ministry and the Government of Sri Lanka. The Foreign Minister said heads of missions commended the government on the impressive progress made during last year in averting a serious crisis and were positive about on the way forward. That came to you in development news.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Company housemaids, caretakers and home cooks in Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 57 years. Salary starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can now travel overseas free of charge. Branches Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Development Agency.
And on sports news, West Indies under-19 men's team are set to tour Sri Lanka in August, September this year to take part in 2 youth tests and 3 youth ODIs. The tour will begin with a warm-up game which will be played on the 25th of this month at the CCC grounds in Colombo. The 3-match ODI series will be played from 27th August to 1st September at the Dambulla International Cricket Stadium. It will be followed by the 2-match test series which has been scheduled to be played from 5th September to 15th September at the same venue. That was sports news.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The LOLC Al-Fala has once again proven its dominance in the Islamic banking and finance sector by winning 4 prestigious awards at the 12th edition of the Sri Lanka Islamic Banking and Financial Industry Awards. The awarding ceremony held at the Shangri-La Hotel, Colombo, recognized the outstanding contributions of LOLC Al-Fala within the Islamic financial services sector of the country. That came to you in business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on with economic news, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce entered a strategic partnership with renowned implementation service provider Pristine Solutions Private Limited to revolutionize its operations and bring cutting-edge technology to the forefront with the implementation of an enterprise resource planning solution. The Ceylon Chamber has selected the SAP BI ERP system, a comprehensive solution that will automate and revolutionize how CCC manages its operational processes. That came to you in economic news.
Weather report.
Several spells of showers will occur in the western and Sabaragamu provinces, and in the Galle, Matara, Kandy and Nuwara districts, mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. Fairly strong winds, about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in Trincomalee, Hambantota and Moranagala districts. That was the weather report. And now to this news broadcast, the main points once again. The President directs officials to accelerate the focused initiative aimed at attracting 5 million tourists annually. The State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the second tranche of the extended fund facility of the IMF will bring hope for investors. 3 centres are open in the Anuradhapura district in order to purchase the paddy harvest of the Yala season. The need of a multilateral task force to execute the welfare programs for the benefit of workers is emphasized. And on international news, Indian lunar mission inches closer to the moon. Sports news, fixtures announced for West Indies under-19 tour of Sri Lanka. That ends this news broadcast,